Alrighty, well, yeah, my name is Alexander Bryan. I'm here presenting on behalf of the Science Commons Initiative. I'm super excited to tell you all about the work that we've been doing to support BOINC development and the BOINC community as well. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with us, the SCI is a nonprofit organization. We have an all-volunteer board. On that board, we've got myself, we got BOINC developer Vitaly Kashra, some of the lead developers from Gridcoin, and the hosts of BOINC Radio, as well as some other folks. And our mission is to find and fund technology that connects the public with the scientific process, so we can kind of rebuild that bridge of trust and participation between the public and science, right? If you're invested in, if you participate in a system, in a scientific system, you're more likely to trust its outcomes. You're more likely to care about scientific research, and you're more likely to, for example, take vaccines. So it's there's a continuing growing rift between the public and science. We want to help patch that up, and we see BOINC as one of the primary tools for doing that. It's a really great way to kind of connect these two worlds. So this year, we applied for some grant funding from Gitcoin, and we currently have about $10,000 allocated towards BOINC development, and we expect that number to grow by the end of the year. But I think, bigger than the dollar amount, more significant is that we have a group of people who are longtime BOINC users, who are passionate about this software, who want to contribute to it and see it grow and grow its impact. And they're meeting on a regular basis, and they're getting a lot of work done. So I'm very excited to see what comes out of all this. So before talking about what we want to do, let's talk about why we want to do it. BOINC has a long-term trend of shrinking user base, and I'm sure that none of these challenges listed here are going to be news to anyone here. Here's a slide from David's presentation from last year, maybe the year before, at the BOINC workshop, illustrating pretty well the shrinking user base issue. And so that's on the user side, but on the research side as well, BOINC is just not well known in scientific research circles when it absolutely should be, right? It's open source, it's low cost for academic departments to use. There's a huge network of volunteers who will do your computing for free. I mean, the list goes on in terms of BOINC's advantages for academic research, but it just isn't well known. And I think it's really a shame. And one of the reasons it's not well known is that there's a lot of accessibility hurdles in order to get started with BOINC, whether you're looking at it from the end of crunchers and users or from the end of researchers. David has pretty well articulated some of these hurdles, and including the hurdle of getting started with research, that scientists are scientists, right? They're not system administrators. They're not just going to download some software and start up a LAMP server to do a couple of work units. And on top of that, once they have that, they're not going to be able to or want to spend a bunch of time getting volunteers for their project. And so Science United really eliminated that first major hurdle there, which is very exciting. And one of the reasons that accessibility is low is that there's a limited pool of developer talent. There's only a couple developers who work on BOINC. They do an excellent job. But the smaller your development team and the bigger your software, the more time you spend on bug fixes and maintenance, and the less time you spend on future kind of forward-thinking development and adding new features and that kind of stuff. And one of the primary reasons for a limited pool of developer talent is that there's no sustainable funding mechanism for BOINC, and there never really has been. It seems like it's mostly been funded through kind of a patchwork of NSF grants, and David's sure will and determination and stubbornness to keep the project alive and useful for all the people that it's useful to. So the first thing that we really want to tackle is this funding issue for BOINC. So we have our BOINC Development Fund. This enables people to directly support BOINC development, and they can donate to us. That gives them a fun tax deduction, or they can put money directly on bug bounties, which is going to be the primary way that we're spending these development funds. So for those of you who are not in software, essentially what we do for a bug bounty is we say, we have $200, we have $500, whatever the amount is, and we want to get this feature implemented. We want to get this bug fixed in the software. We want to have some code written, and whoever can produce that code and bring it to us first, they get the value of that bounty. And so users can contribute directly to bounties that matter to them. And so this bug bounty system has a couple of benefits. One is that it's a great way for us to put funds towards development before we're at a place where we have sustainable enough funding to hire full-time developers. And because users are able to contribute directly to these bug bounties, and by users, I don't mean just crunchers, but also project admins, anyone who benefits from the BOINC software, we're getting real-time, live, quality feedback on what are the features that are important to users. What are the things that matter to them? So we don't need to do a survey. We don't need to guess as to what users want. We can see it right there in the bug bounties. And also, critically, this attracts new development talent, right? So we're using Bounty Source for this, and there's developers there, and they're working on all sorts of projects, and they're going to see, oh, there's a $250 bounty on what seems like a really simple bug. Let me look into that. Let me look at the code and see what I can do. And when they're doing that, they're going to have an experience that everyone here has had, which is they're going to say, "What this BOINC thing? This is kind of cool. I can see this project having a big impact. I want to get more involved. I want to start crunching. I want to start a project. I want to start contributing more to the code." And so basically, it's the BOINC Development Fund. Yes, it's about getting the development done, but it's also about raising the profile of BOINC among people who have the talent and skills to contribute code to it. So that's the development side. Of course, there's also the outreach and community side. One of the big hurdles for BOINC is just general visibility. So we want to develop a set of modern promotional materials for BOINC so that anyone who likes the software, anyone who's passionate about it, can have what they need to go promote BOINC, in their place of worship, in their academic institution, in their workplace, in their community. So we have some business cards that we've made. Talk about that in the next slide. But you can see here a screenshot from the bug bounty that we used to fund those. And of course, it also means supporting community infrastructure, the ways that people find out about and get engaged with BOINC outside of the software. So we provide live streaming infrastructure for BOINC Radio, and we do a lot of online promotion as well. Last month we had a Reddit AMA post. We had about 50,000 views on that, talking about BOINC, and that's not a huge number in terms of general promotion and advertising, but I think in terms of BOINC's general advertising reach, it's a pretty significant bump. Also, right now, one of our board members is in Denver at a DSCI conference, talking to people kind of on the bleeding edge of science technology about what BOINC can do for them and their research projects. We also did the BOINC census. I believe you all saw the presentation on that earlier. And of course, whenever we're promoting BOINC software, we're inherently promoting the BOINC projects, right? Because it's much easier to get somebody interested in the software if there's an adjacent interest that they have, right? Oh, you're interested in space? Did you know that you can find pulsars with Einstein at home using your laptop, right? Once we have that connection and start that conversation, then we can get them interested in BOINC. So just, researchers, project admins, when you post on your website, we're going to take those posts, we're going to run with them, we're going to get them all over social media, hopefully get some more eyes in your project and some more crunchers as well. And so this is all talking about the visibility on the end of the end user, but also we need to raise visibility, of course, among researchers and institutions. And someone asked a question earlier about how kind of the science communication end of BOINC promotion should work. We would love to hear from projects about how we can help with the science communication part so that you can focus on the research and development, and we can help get the word out about your project and what you're doing. So one of these kind of promotional efforts that we have are these BOINC business cards. This is going to be part of a larger design package. But basically, we have a business card designed for each BOINC project. The project can choose the taglines here, and we should have these released by the end of the month. We're waiting to hear back from all the projects on them, but this is the front of the card. Back of the card has a QR code and a link to the project website. These are going to be made available at cost on our website through our web store, which ships internationally, and they'll be available to anybody who wants to promote BOINC. And if you need to modify them for some particular purpose, or you want to get them printed locally, no problem. The designs are openly licensed. They'll be available for download as well. So this will be, again, part of a larger design package. Another effort we launched, which is someone was asking about this in the chat, is the SCI web store. So you can buy merch from your favorite BOINC projects here: t-shirts, hoodies, backpacks, you name it, we probably have it. And so 50% of the proceeds from these purchases go to the projects, and then 50% goes to our BOINC Development Fund. And it's also another tool in your toolbox as a project admin to help incentivize user participation. In the census, people were asking about ways to reward users, right? There's a couple of different methods, and this is another one that you can utilize. So if you're going to do a compute sprint, you need a bunch of work units completed, you can say, all right, top 5 crunchers this month, you get a hoodie with our logo on there. So if you're a project admin, you'd like to be involved, please do shoot us an email. We'll get you on here. And if you're a user and you'd like to see your favorite project on here, ask your project. They're the ones who have to sign off on it. So, so far we've been talking about how to raise visibility and accessibility among users. but we also need to raise visibility among researchers and among academic institutions. So we have this promotion campaign basically ready to roll. There's a couple finishing touches that we're putting on it, but essentially we're going to reach out to every university in the United States, not just every university, every physics department, every chemistry department, every biology department. And we're going to give them a letter. We're going to give them this nice flyer, and it's going to link back to this website pictured here, which links back, of course, to the BOINC Berkeley website. But this is just a very streamlined pitch for researchers, for academic departments. What is BOINC? Why is it useful to you, right? Because BOINC has a million cool features. There's tons of cool stuff we could teach you about BOINC. But right now, we're only going to focus on its pitch as a compute provider, right? BOINC is free and open source. You can use it and modify it as you wish. BOINC has a large community and ecosystem. There's lots of good places for user support. It's free to use. You get your compute done essentially for free. So really hammering these points home about why would you choose BOINC over AWS, over HEC Condor, over these kind of other competitors in the distributed computing marketplace. So we're very excited to be getting that one off the ground. So I won't take up too much of y'all's time. But basically, project admins, if you're interested in working with us, if we can help you with science communication, please do come talk to us. And we want to hear from you about what kind of your pain points are with the BOINC software so we can put money towards development efforts and bug bounties for those. So there's a link here, QR codes from our monthly newsletter. If you want to keep up on what we're doing, it's a great way. It's a low traffic email list. We also got our Discord if you're interested in more day-to-day. And of course, do check out the web store, get yourself some merch.
Great. Well, thank you very much. That's interesting proposal. You guys are definitely up to a lot. I guess I missed part of it. My computer took the opportunity to crash right at the beginning, so I'll personally take a look at the recording. By the way, as a point for everyone, talks will be on YouTube. There's a BOINC Workshop YouTube channel. I'll post links for that later. Meanwhile, we have a question here from Bill Bauer.
There we go. Hi. You said you were reaching out to all U.S. universities and their departments. Have you considered looking at contacting museums? Anecdotally, my sister's working at the Field Museum, and I think they've been doing some research through Zooniverse there for crunching some of the data.
That's a really good idea. I don't think we'd even thought about doing museums, but yeah, that's certainly a good place to reach out to as well. And after we do this first big promo sprint to universities, we kind of want to reevaluate and see, like, do we want to start promoting to other types of institutions? Do we want to start doing more international promotion and kind of seeing what feedback we get from that? But our hope is we're going to get at least one new BOINC project out of that that people will be excited to crunch. So